Today's story is about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Have you ever wondered how these two are different at all? Now, this is a story I learned very recently. It was part of an audiobook that I was listening to, and I think it's very, very interesting. So, there was once this student of Sufism who went to a new master and sought to be a disciple of his. Now, this student had, prior to this, gone to many different Sufi masters and been their disciple and learned from them for many, many years. And he was very proud of it. So, to start off with, he told this new master about his lineage of different Sufi masters that he'd been, coached and taught by. Now, this new master, he was a very, very wise man. He heard out the student patiently and asked him to come back that evening and join him for dinner. The student, of course, accepted the invitation. And when he returned in the evening, he was very pleasantly surprised to see that the master had arranged for a very elaborate feast for him. The student, of course, started enjoying the food on the master's ask, and initially he had a lot of different kinds of food items, and he was thoroughly enjoying himself. The master was just sitting there watching him. Slowly, the student started feeling a little full, and he started slowing down, but the master insisted that he should have more and more food, and he, in fact, got up and brought more food to his plate and started serving him. The student kept eating out of respect for his new master, but he was starting to get a little uncomfortable, and at one point he just couldn't take anymore. He knew that if he had one more morsel he would end up pretty much throwing up, but the master again insisted that he have more food. The student got very, very uncomfortable, and at one point he literally got up and ran to the bathroom. When he returned, he saw that the master was smiling at him, and it confused him and even enraged him a little bit to see that the master was, seemingly happy at this predicament of his. However, the master continued to smile and started explaining. He said, "You've had a lot of food over the past many years, physically and mentally. You've learned so much. You've eaten so much, but you haven't really had the time to digest it. And whatever you eat and do not digest cannot stay in your system. It's got to come out one way or the other. It's got to be thrown out by the body. So unless you digest what you've eaten or absorb what you've consumed, it's pretty much of no use, and you wasted your time and that of your masters." The student instantly understood what the master was referring to, and that, my friends, is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you can accumulate, what you can gather and collect from outside, but it is still something that is external to you. It's still something that you have to refer to be able to put it to any sort of use. However, once this knowledge is absorbed by your body, just like the food that you digest gets absorbed by your body, it is no longer external to you. You no longer need to stock it or refer to it separately. There is no recall necessary because it's a part of you once it has been internalized. And this exactly is the difference between how wise men treat knowledge as opposed to most of us. So wise men aren't very different from you and I. All they do differently is the way they treat the knowledge and the information that they receive. They absorb what is important to them and what is pertinent, and discard the rest, because regardless of how much you gather, if it isn't important to you, there is no point holding on to it, because you're never going to be able to put it to use. And that's pretty much it. I Hope you've found this interesting at the least, and if you think it's useful, do share it with someone who you think would also enjoy and appreciate this. Thank you for listening, like always, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, folks.